What's going on, y'all? I'm Rune, and welcome to the final episode in my series where I tried to full combo through every burrow in Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. We finally made it to the end, guys! It seems like it was just yesterday where we were back in Versum chopping it up, and now we're at the big leagues. But let's not celebrate just yet. We've still got a whole nightlife district to go through, so let's set up the rules as usual. In order for me to have fully comboed a burrow, I have to hit all hard corners, billboards and vehicles, and half pipes in each level of B or C in one continuous combo. I'll only be using the skateboard for its manual time and movement ability, alongside using the vanilla physics of BRC. For those of you who do not know or who are new to BRC, going a specific speed may sometimes net me hard corners on random obtuse looking rails. So I will either be including or excluding these corners based on consistency across them. And lastly, some burrows have separate locations locked behind loading areas, to which I can't keep my combo when traveling through them. So I will be adding up the multipliers in a burrow's respective separate area to the final total if there are any. And without further ado, let's start the finale of this series and begin to full combo Mataan.
I guess you wonder where I've been, wonder where I've been. Guess you wonder where I've been.
Oh yes, bitch. I wonder if the road's ready.
Guess you wonder where I've been, wonder where I've been.
Mataan, the absolute final destination for city nightlife in New Amsterdam. This is the last borough in the game and where the final showdown between the Bomb Rush crew and the true culprit face off. But I'm gonna be on the sidelines scouring every last nook and cranny for multipliers. Before we get started, we have a couple of discrepancies that's preventing us from full comboing. First off, Mataan cuts off a third of the borough through this one loading area that can be reached by entering this statue's mouth once it opens. The Toy Toy area houses a decent amount of multipliers, and it's actually connected to the rest of the borough via this rail here. So we'd have to start our combo in Toy Toy Town first. Try saying that 5 times fast. Toy Toy Town, Toy Toy Town, Toy Toy Town, Toy Toy Town. Fuck, oh my god. I'm gonna be starting my combo at the crane where the vending machine drops iridium, simply because there's a multiplier here on this small corner. There's also a bike gate that leads us to this upper section of rails that house a couple billboards. So in order for us to prepare Mataan to be comboed, we have to open up the bike gate first, travel down to the plaza with the statue, and then teleport to Toy Toy Town to begin there. Oh, and I'm not using the skateboard for this run simply because the hydrant here doesn't lead to anything that we can't reach on our own, and it's also the end of the series and I kind of just want to use my favorite style just for the sake of it. But anyways, now that all that's out of the way, let's get started. I start the combo at this crane, jumping off and landing on this wall rail here. I grab the corners on the starting platform and then head over to the main Toy Toy Town area. There's a rail that surrounds the perimeter of this island, and once we're done with this, we head over to the Elephant Head building. Turning right leads us over to this path with some billboards and even more cranes. I grab this last billboard on the way out and make my way back to the Toy Toy Town platform. I use this long rail to get on this crane and grab the longer sets of billboards here, ascending up to the top where the final graffiti spot in the game is. At least for me, this was the last graffiti that I had to spray before I unlocked Old Head, but you know, to each their own. We now reach the trickiest part of the run. By this point, we've gotten all the multipliers in Toy Toy Town. So all we have to do is leave this area by getting on top of this building here and exiting using this crane. But in order to do that, I have to jump down from the highest point of this building and land on one of the elevators here. If I'm lucky, I can get a good cycle and catch one of the elevators on the way up. But if I'm not, worst case scenario, I have to spend an extra 15 seconds boost tricking to keep my combo going while the elevator goes up. This isn't a problem though, as gaining meter in this game is stupidly easy. Once I'm up here though, it's smooth sailing for the rest of the burrow from here. I begin with the bullhead rail at the end of the highway here. With these bullheads, we need to ride them once in both directions to get all corners on them. I drop down to the half pipe area below the bullhead. Thankfully, there's only 4 multipliers to get from each section of the half pipes. I grab the rail surrounding the perimeter of the ditch as well. After I'm out of this little ditch, I grab this one rectangle of corners and then both sides of this billboard on the middle of the street. Once I grab this lone corner here, I make my way down to the underground section where the Frank's new hideout is. The rails here are gameplay as normal, so I head back out from the entrance I came in. Sliding on past this corner, I get this lone half pipe and jump across the street to the far rail here. Riding this rail leads me to the bike gate I opened earlier. I opt to take the higher rail first, which veers off to the right, leading me to one billboard. Heading back up again and taking the lower rail leads us to the left. Following gameplay as usual gets me another 2 billboards. Also, side note, these are some of the only rails in the games to have purely smooth corners that don't have any multipliers. I can think of many other spots in the game that could have used these specific rails, yet they just don't exist at all. I'd like to think that Mataan was probably designed last, which makes sense from a story standpoint, and by this point the devs were like, we have a deadline to meet, the game's been in development for 4 years, let's just release this as it is, bada bing bada boom. And to which I'm not complaining, it's just I find it annoying that like smooth corner rails like these exist where other parts of the game could have 100% definitely used them. I digress. Tangent aside, I continue about with this outer rail on the end of the burrow here, and then drop below to the small platform underneath. The rail on the way up has some smooth corners that actually net multipliers though, and these are consistent enough to count as well. One last rectangle of corners and then we can move on to the bridge area of the burrow. I start on the left side of the bridge first, working on the right side after to backtrack to the small civilian area in the corner here. I made a pit stop to grab this billboard on the side with the ceiling rail here. I then ascended up the stairs onto the cluster of houses, getting the few billboards on the side here. Weird place to put billboards, by the way. Either way, after I do a loop around the top of this platform, I start grinding these bullheads off on the side here. Nothing really difficult, and getting back is not a problem either. By this point, the bridge area is done and I can make my way over to the alleyway race area. I do have to backtrack to ride these moving bullheads on the other side, but that's no big deal. I spend a minute or so comboing the small area before the alleyway and then begin heading down there. A coin drop gets me up the stairs and I can finally start comboing the last area in the burrow. I start by going to the right and dropping down to this lower platform. I time my slide so that I can get onto the middle of this air vent, launching me up to get this billboard and the one corner on this rail here. After that, I make the climb up these golden hands here only because there's a rail with a single corner. I then drop down and take the billboard path, dropping down even lower to take this rail that takes me across the gap a few times. I head atop the higher bridge only to drop back down and backtrack, getting these mess of corners that I missed here. I then take this light pole back up to the higher bridge and head into the red light district. I only need to grab the 2 half pipes here and then take this rail in the upper alleyway to reach this high ground spot. Taking this long rail leads me to this lone billboard. And from here, I jump down to get the rails and billboards surrounding this island in the middle. After that, I head up to the area where you meet Coil for the first time. Here, there's 2 half pipes and 2 billboards I need to collect. Next, I do some backtracking to grab some far off rails that I missed over here. Getting back from this spot can be a little scary, but it's nothing I can't handle. By this point, I only have the main statue plaza left to combo, so I make my way over there. After getting a few more corners, I finally reach the last spot in the burrow. I start by getting all the corners on the outer side of the plaza, taking a detour to grab these few corners on the rail around the statue. Once I'm done with the top platform, I drop down to the bottom one. I stop to grab a few half pipes while I'm on the outer rails before heading back to the center. And after I grab this last half pipe, I have fully comboed Mataan with a total of 369 multipliers. With no other loading areas to factor in, it is safe to say that Mataan is complete, which means that all of New Amsterdam has been fully comboed by yours truly, marking this as the end of this series. This challenge was so fun to make. I had a blast doing it. This game is probably one of my favorite games of all time, and it's just so freaking wonderful. I definitely am not going to be done with BRC related content though. I am still going to be making gacha game content on the side, I suppose, but I kind of really just want to venture out into more of these challenge related videos and potentially video essays. This whole series was just a test to see if I can be consistent enough to complete video series like this. And with this video existing, I've completed my goal, and I cannot wait to do more stuff in the future for other potential games. I have so many ideas that I can bounce off of my head right now, but it's just a matter of me being consistent. And with it being the end of the year, I can finally say that I've accomplished something that I'm pretty proud of. and I appreciate each and every one of you who have stayed this far and have watched through this entire series with me. Coffee's in the description, Discord's in the description, all of that good stuff. 2025 is going to be the year that I'm going to be posting a lot more consistently. I'm going to aim for at least a video every week, regardless of what it is, whether it's Zenless, whether it's BRC, whether it's any of that other stuff. I will try to focus on making one long form video per month, and we'll just see how that goes. January is going to be pretty interesting because I've got a lot of stuff on the table and I cannot wait to get it out. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next year. Peace.